doing than I do. Honest, that's true, because I don't pay attention. I just, I go on, I'm working on the next job. So yeah, but those are the ones I'm currently working on right now. Okay. Cool, thanks. How about you right here? Well, when I go into a studio and I'm recreating a character that I've done before, or that has been done before by somebody else, they will have reference for me. They'll actually play something for me to listen to. But when I'm doing auditions, most of the time they're new characters, and they'll give me references. So we have internet now, so I can look up a bunch of stuff on YouTube. YouTube is my friend. I use that for dialects. I use it for character references. So I'll do my research, and that actually takes more time than doing the auditions themselves sometimes. I'll be up till midnight, 1 o'clock almost every night because I'm doing an hour or two of research before I even start recording. But as far as the characters that I've done, especially my big characters, Wolverine, Starscream, Zek from Star Wars, Stormtroopers, those types of things, I know those characters, they live inside me, so I don't even have to think about it. But for certain things, like if I'm working on a dialect I haven't done in a while, I will do research on it. I try to get it as close as I can. The problem is that when I do these auditions, even if I book them and I walk into the recording studio, most of the time they'll throw something different at me than what I had originally auditioned. They'll say, okay, so this is what you did, and what we want now is 3 other dialects. I was hired for, I don't remember what the game was called, but I was brought in, I think, for a Caribbean accent. And I walk into the room and the guy goes, oh, by the way, we've decided to go Australian. Go. And I go, all right, man, I'm ready. Let's do it. And you got to be that quick and on the ball. Or I'll just say I can't do it. I don't know South African. I'm not good at that one. But here's a list of guys who are really good at doing that, so I'll just refer them. So it's kind of half and half. I have a lot stuck in there still that I can refer to, and a lot of it's muscle memory in the throat. I know what's going to come out before it comes out just by doing it for 20 years. But it takes research, and I'm working every single day. I call myself a blue-collar worker because I'm struggling and working at it every single day. It's never easy. You, sir, and that. Again. Hello.
I don't know if any details have been released, and it's not really relevant to the question, but if you were offered to voice Vincent Valentine in the weekend,
yes. In a heartbeat. I love Vincent. Was that the question? Was whether I would do it?
Pretty much.
Yeah, Vincent, well, first of all, I love how the character was animated. I love the storylines that they came up with for the Final Fantasy series, especially that particular one was beautiful. It's like eye candy to watch that. And the other thing that I love about it is Vincent doesn't hurt. Vincent is way down here. I just whisper basically through an entire show. And it's recuperation time for me. Honestly, after I've been screaming and screaming and screaming all week on something else, that kind of thing is what I do to wind my voice down, so it actually feels good. I would do that in a heartbeat. Please ask me, gods of Final Fantasy, please ask me to do that. How about you, sir? Not intentionally, but I know they come out. I've been told that. My ex used to tell me that I would talk in my sleep in voices. I don't know if I do that still. I don't know if I do that intentionally, but a lot of times I will use the intimidating voice because I'm a really nice guy typically, and I'm a people pleaser. But when somebody really angers me, especially in traffic, I think the beast comes out a little bit. And I will get a little bit feral. I go, what are you doing? Or the other time I'll use that sometimes is at amusement parks just to mess with people. Where was it? Is it Universal Studios that has Jurassic Park? I think so, yeah. I walked up behind somebody and we're waiting in line for that, and they have sounds and stuff around in the bushes or whatever. I don't know if they do that here, but or in Orlando or wherever it is, but in the LA version of it, they have great sound effects throughout the waiting period as you're getting ready to go on the ride. And I'll just be standing in line and I'll just go. And I'll do that kind of stuff, and it's great because people don't know where it's coming from. Sometimes I'll do it really subtly. I'll be standing behind somebody and I'll just go. And they'll be looking around in the bushes and I'll look around with them. And it's almost like a Tourette's kind of thing. I can't help myself. I have to do it.
You mentioned that Frank Welker lurking around?
Yeah, well, I think Frank does that too. In fact, I know Frank does that. I've seen him do that in booths. This is a great Frank Welker story. I was working with him on Scooby-Doo, the first time I worked with Frank. And we were between lines, the engineer was setting up the session, and Frank was just making this really weird sound. It sounded like gas escaping, but it was like, I can't even do it. It was like, and he doesn't have to do that with his lips. He has a way of doing it where he's just smiling and looking around, and the engineer's going. Well, we can see him behind the glass trying to figure it out, and Frank is just sitting there with his arms crossed. And so the engineer's in the room. He comes in the room, he's starting to check all the mics, and we have like 10 people in the room. And the engineer comes in there and he's just going crazy. He can't figure it out. He's just scratching his head. This guy's been at it for 40 years at Warner Brothers. And Frank is sitting there going, it's just like with an 8-year-old's grin on his face. It was the funniest thing I'd ever seen, and the engineer wanted to kill him, but he loves Frank so much that he goes, you got me again, man. You got me again? So apparently he does that all the time. He can't help himself. And D. Bradley Baker does that too. He'll do, especially if we're in a room where things are not going well, if an actor is doing like 9, 10 takes of something and everybody's a little bit frustrated, we can't quite get the read out, D will do the sound of crickets, which I can't do at all. But it is so realistic, you would swear to God there is a room full of crickets around you. And it drives everybody crazy. But now we all know that it's him, so. Yeah, but a lot of us do that, especially the creature guys. We like messing with people, it's fun. Okay, who else? You, sir.
Briefs or boxers?
I believe I'm wearing tidy grays today. Does that answer the question? I like a little support, personally. Wow. It's gone there, has it? How long is this thing?
What's your favorite Starscream line?
Favorite Starscream line? Wow.
Call me Lord. That sort of encapsulates Starscream's personality. No matter what's going on in the universe, he says, call me Lord. Just don't tell Megatron.
Pretty much that's it. Anybody else? Going once.
I guess on a related question, what was it like coming in and doing the voice of Starscream? I'm kicking myself for not remembering the name of the voice actor. The voice actor did the one who did it originally. Like, what was it like trying to come in and do a character that he did such a great job with?
Wow, man. Well, the harder part of that, Chris Latta was brilliant. I loved his work. I loved his version of Starscream. But actually that was occurring when I was already an adult. I was already having kids, so I wasn't tuned into G1 at that time. So I didn't really have that connection with his voice as much as a lot of the younger people do. But I certainly did my research on it when I was auditioning for it, and they said they didn't want that. They said they wanted me to start darker and deeper so that this character could possibly do some damage.
So I started Starscream here and worked my way up to the higher things.
And we hit that thing, and we certainly do our homage to Chris Latta. But I was actually sourcing more from Tom Kenny's portrayal of him, and more importantly, Charlie Adler, who was doing the voice of Starscream in the movies. And Charlie is one of my dearest friends. I love him, I respect him, he's one of the greatest voice actors in the world. And I didn't understand why they just didn't give it to him. And so I called him when they booked me for the role, and I asked his permission. I said, dude, you know, you're my Starscream now. Why would they be hiring outside of that? And he said, well, there are a lot of reasons for it. And he goes, I can't do it. And he goes, God bless you, make $1 million. And so with that blessing, I went forward and I made my own creation of Starscream, and I was just hoping that fans would like it. Fortunately, they did. But what really gave me closure was I was doing a podcast with Rob Paulson called Talking Tunes. And the girl who was coordinating his podcast was Chris Lotta's daughter. And she came up to me before we went on stage. We were just about to go on stage, and she goes, I just wanted you to know that my dad would really approve of your version of Starscream, and you've done a really great job. And I stood there and I sobbed. I mean, I couldn't believe that I was getting the blessing from Chris Lotta's daughter to do Starscream. So that made it okay for me. And I'm just glad that you guys have accepted my humble version of it. So,
And I got to wear heels.
Anybody else? Are we cutting this? Okay. Yes? Okay. Right after. How about right after? Because pandemonium will ensue. Even though you run the Magic School Bus. Magic School Bus? She brought back such happy memories for me today. Right here, sir.
As you might be aware, there's a new Dragon Ball series that's been released.
Yes.
And I would think it'd make an amazing addition to the Dragon Ball family. Would that be something you would consider doing?
I would love to work on Dragon Ball. Unfortunately, it's not where I am. It's in Texas, here in Texas. I think they're recording in Dallas. I don't know where it is actually.
Fort Worth.
But I'm in Los Angeles, and so it's it's a situational thing. I don't think that I'm able to record for that. So I'm sure that they have a great talent pool here in Texas, and whoever books these roles are going to be amazing at it. I would love to do it, but it's just not my role, I guess. So, and you? What would I like to play? Anybody but Broly. I don't want to scream. I don't know. Who do you think I would be right for? Be the casting director. Who do you think I'd be right for? I don't know. All right, well, yeah, okay. Moving on. How about you? Right there, sir.
What was your favorite part of voicing in Digimon?
Geomon?
I loved almost everything about Digimon. I worked on that show for 3 seasons. I got to write for Digimon for 2 seasons. I was one of the main writers on season 3 and season 4. But season 3, getting to play Guilmon
Was one of my favorite experiences of my lifetime.
It's just a sweet, warm, wonderful character. There's so much heart in that show. The writing was so much fun. They let us really play, and they let us make it funny in areas that really weren't from the original Japanese. The cast was really tight. Even though we didn't work together in the same room, they would have rap parties. And one of the most fun things that we did, we had a rap party at a bar, and they called it Dirty Digimon. And they took all of these excerpts from the show that we couldn't show on network, and they would cut them together, and we did karaoke live to these scenes. And so we would put words in the mouths of these creatures that were not, acceptable to a younger audience. And they had Digimon peeing on logs. I mean, it was crazy. The weirdest, wackiest stuff that I've ever seen in an anime besides hentai. But it was really fun. It was innocent, there wasn't anything really terribly nasty in it, but it was really fun, and it was a really great group of people. And the other character I would say would be JP, who was a little kid from season 4, or overall sort of overweight, very insecure. That's who I was when I was growing up. I was a little bullied kid who just didn't feel very good about himself. And so I related to that character, and it was fun to actually play a character that I understood. So that was kind of cool. Digimon had a lot of heart, and they talked about some real issues. So I really appreciated that. Anybody else?